excited.
Well, here you go. I'm getting my apron on. So do you want to tell everyone what we're making?
Yes, I would be happy to. So we will be making egg pudding tonight. And in Chinese, it's called 蒸鸡蛋, which means steamed chicken egg. So it's basically like a pudding flan consistency. It's great for those who want something refreshing and light. So I'll teach Jess and Serena how to make egg pudding.
Yes. Yay. And thank you so much for joining us. It's nice to, is this your first like dual live?
I've done a few before, but I haven't gone live in quite a while, so this is really fun. Hi, everyone, whoever is here.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions while we're cooking, when we're not getting instructions and stuff, you can put those down in the comment box, and we'll be sure to get to them and answer any questions you have about egg pudding or about carnivore or low carb or anything like that. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah. Put them in the question box next to the comment box, because if you put them in the comments, they'll scroll past and we might not get to them. So do you guys still eat Kerrygold or other grass-fed brands instead? I don't eat a lot of butter. I'm sorry, not to offend the steak and butter gal.
No problem. Totally get it.
What do you still eat, Bella?
Yeah, so the butters that I've been eating, actually I have one of them right here. Let me show you guys. So this is one of my favorite brands. It's from Farms. And another one that I love is from Truly grass-fed. So you guys could find these two brands like at any local grocery store.
Oh, nice. I'll have to look for those. I'm still using Kerrygold, but I haven't had any butter yet today, and I was lion diet, until yesterday. So I went for chicken today as the thing that I was adding back in, and then eggs, which is kind of like chicken. It'll be fine. But I plan on having some butter tomorrow.
Yay. Okay, so what do we need, Bella?
Okay, ingredients, we obviously need eggs for the egg pudding. Now, I'm personally going to just use 4 eggs for the egg pudding. You guys can mimic me 4 eggs, but it really is so customizable because the ratios is literally 1:1, egg to liquid, okay? So I'll just use 4 eggs, and then we're going to need water. So I have some water. But here is where you guys can be creative. If you don't want to use water, there you go. Like Serena, you can do goat milk. You can do bone broth. I've seen a lot of carnivores try cream with a mix of some other milks or even, I don't know, tea. That's actually like a Chinese egg pudding too, but we're not going to use tea, just water. But bone broth is a great way to kind of add more flavor.
I actually have some bone broth going right now, so maybe I'll scoop some out and use bone broth. So I'll try it with that.
You should, yes.
Okay, so we do have a question. So do you want to tell us the first step, and I'll pull this question up on the screen?
Of course. Okay, so first step, we're going to crack the eggs into our bowl. So with the bowl, it helps if it's some type of shallow, round bowl, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, whatever bowl you have on hand, but the bowl must be able to fit into your pot. Because we're going to steam the egg pudding bowl needs to be able to fit into the pot. That's the only thing. Okay, so we crack the eggs into our bowl first.
Okay, so I cracked mine into a measuring cup so I could measure how much liquid, and my 4 eggs are exactly a cup.
Thank you for saying that, Serena, because I'm so used to just doing it by eye. Let's actually get a little container, if possible, to measure the eggs so we can match it with the liquid, because it does have to be 1:1 ratio. Perfect. Just look at Serena, because she knows what she's doing.
Sometimes.
Yes. Serena's the good student. I'm not. I don't have measuring cups. Is this okay?
That's gonna be way too big.
Dang it!
Like maybe like a smaller bowl that still gives space in the pot so it can steam evenly. Yeah. Serena, is that the bowl you're gonna use? That's perfect, Jess. That's perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not as big as it looks, and I have my pot here for it to go in.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, this is the bowl I'm using, and my pot is huge. So it doesn't matter what pot you use as long as the bowl fits in the pot.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I would say this bowl holds like 3 cups, and I'm just putting 2 in it, so I think it'll be good.
Okay, perfect.
So the question is, silly question, but does the freshness of the egg matter?
Oh, that's an interesting question. It really doesn't matter. It does not matter the freshness. I think what really matters is how big your egg is, because the bigger the egg is, the more liquid you're going to need. If it's tiny little chicken eggs, you're going to need less less liquid. So again, the ratio is just literally 1-to-1 amount of egg to liquid of choice.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
Next question is, I use tallow. I was wondering though, is duck fat a good fat to use? Ooh, I've heard duck fat is amazing. Have you guys tried it?
Yes, I have. It has this depth of flavor that's unlike beef fat, tallow, pork lard even. It's a really great bougie fat.
Really?
Bougie.
I bought a jar last week. Maybe I'll get it out and use it. What would you do? Would you add that at the end, or would you add it as we start it?
Okay, so if you do want to incorporate any animal fats into egg pudding, you can use it as like a topper, almost like a glaze on top at the very end, or you can actually incorporate some melted fat into the liquid if you love like really fatty egg pudding.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me know when you guys are ready for the next step.
Okay, my eggs are cracked in my bowl.
Okay, perfect. So Jess, you didn't put any liquids yet, right?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna have to both eyeball matching the amount of liquid, because if you can somehow eyeball, because like if you look at my bowl, there's about like what, half an inch of egg. We're gonna have to put in half an inch more of liquid, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can use a measuring cup like I did.
That's definitely smart. Yes,
I
good.
would if I had one. I don't have any measuring cups.
Your next box is going to have measuring cups in it.
Minimal. Yeah.
Her mom and I are always sending her kitchen items.
Here, I'll do this, and I'll put it in here, and then measure the water this way.
Smart. Let's do that.
We're problem solvers.
Yeah. That's right.
So I'm just going to show you guys. So you can see we've got that much egg. We're going to try to match it with the same amount of liquid, like that. Okay?
I'm so excited. Got it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes! Good job. Is there bone broth in there?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Now welcome to when me and Serena cook together. I am a mess 100% of the time. Is it okay if the bone broth is hot? Does the water need to be a certain temperature?
It does need to be at most lukewarm. If it's hot, it will cook. Yeah.
Then I'll use water this time.
Okay, let's just do water. Yeah,
Okay.
We're plain old simple egg pudding today.
We'll do classic. That's probably classic.
Right.
Classic. However, in Chinese tradition, classic is usually with chicken bone broth, but because I want to do more creative renditions for carnivore lifestyle, that's when I started using just plain water, and it really does work very well. So
Okay.
I think you guys will like it.
And
Okay.
we're doing the whole egg, right? Not just the yolk.
Correct. All three of us did the full egg. However, you can't customize it to just do egg yolks. And egg yolk only egg pudding is perfect for those who are like sensitive to the egg whites. A lot of people who are healing autoimmune issues, the egg yolks tend to be gentler. So you can definitely just do egg pudding with the yolks as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So what's the next thing?
Okay, so once we have the liquid and the eggs into our egg pudding bowl, we're going to start beating. So just start mixing. Yeah.
Ooh, can you steam in an instant pot?
Yes, I actually have a recipe on my channel, so it's kind of hard to explain and say it in words. But I have the exact directions on my YouTube channel, so you can.
Okay, and somebody's asking about, are you not using sugar or milk? So they are both using water, and I used goat milk because I'm just reintroducing things, and I don't really want to introduce regular dairy yet, so I'm going to use goat milk instead.
Perfect.
Ooh, someone says I'm making it too. Making it along with us. What happens with water? I don't understand the question, but what happens with water?
Okay, let's try to recap so they know what to do. So
Okay.
if you put the raw eggs into your egg pudding bowl, just match that same amount with the water because we need the eggs and the liquid of choice. And once that is in the bowl, both of those ingredients, just start mixing it up like how we are doing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is anyone else making it along with us? Let us know. Yeah. And does there need to be, how much space, I guess, needs to be in the bowl? Both bowls, I guess you could answer.
Okay, that's a good question. So if you look at my bowl, this is a good amount to fit in. As long as you have some type of space still left in your egg pudding bowl, that's fine. And since we are on the topic of water in the bowl, let's actually start heating up the water in our big pot because that's going to need to steam our pudding. So I'll just hold up my pot. This is my pot here. Put in some water, like, I don't know, 2-3 cups. 2 inches worth of water, eyeball it, doesn't matter. And then start heating it up. We want it to be at a boil. Yeah.
Okay. And if you guys have any questions, let us know. You can put those in the question box next to the comment box. And that's the best way for us to see your questions. So if you have questions for Jess or I or for Bella about carnivore, about anything, put those questions there so we can answer those for you.
Perfect.
So Bella, I have a question. How do you want to kind of tell everyone? I'm sure most people know your story, but do you kind of want to recap your story for everyone, just in case anyone doesn't?
Sure. Okay. So I have been carnivore for 4 years now, and mostly just eating fatty meat, butter, eggs, sometimes some seafood if I want more variety, really just all animal foods. Sometimes I'll have some raw cheese, but this month I'm going to do no dairy February, except for the butter. So I'm going to keep the butter, but no dairy besides that. Before I was carnivore, I actually had a lot of health issues and I lost my cycle because I was a vegan for 6 years before going carnivore. So my journey has very much been about kind of showing how destructive the plant-based vegan diet is to our health, especially our female hormone health, and just trying to spread the word that eating fat is okay, eating steaks every day is totally healthy, and going carnivore is honestly the best thing you can do for your health. Yeah.
So I have a question with it. How much whisking needs to happen? How whisked do they need to be, if that's the
Good question. So we definitely want it to beat it really, really well. So any little tiny egg white bits will turn kind of hard when it's been steaming. So the better you whisk it, the better silkier the consistency will be.
Okay. Bella, didn't you give up coffee for the month of January?
Yes, I'm actually gonna post, oh my gosh. I'm gonna post a full like recap video, but it was one of the most difficult things I've ever done. Like it was actually really, really hard. And I know you, Jess, you don't drink caffeinated coffee, right? Yeah. So it must be a lot easier to like kind of cut the decaf, but I went from caffeinated coffee every day for the past like 3 years to cold turkey none. And the first 2 weeks were just, it was so trippy because I didn't feel like myself at all. Just so not motivated, so drowsy. But I know it's like the withdrawals, the headaches were pretty bad. But I made it, I'm like now 20 something days now. So it's kind of going upwards now.
Yeah. I gave it up last April. Sorry, I was just gonna say I gave it up last April, but I weaned myself over a week, so I didn't have the headaches, but I was tired and sad for about 2.5 weeks. I think it's that whole, there's a whole culture that goes along with drinking coffee.
Yes.
Everybody's always got a cup of coffee in their hand. So I think that was the hardest part to break, was that habit of it. Yeah, because I weaned myself, I didn't get the headaches, but I was definitely tired and not myself for a couple of weeks. So I get it. Yeah,
it was horrible.
So are you going to produce it or kick it out entirely?
Well, I do want to give it like a good 3 months just to like feel the maximum benefits, because I keep hearing 30 days is not long enough. So I'm just going to keep going until I feel some type of benefit. Let's just say that. Yeah.
And then this question, can I use goat milk on carnivore? Yes, absolutely, if that's what you like.
Yes, absolutely. So again, you can be so creative with the liquid for the egg pudding. Milk, cream. I've seen Kelly Hogan loves heavy whipping cream. You can do plain water like me and Jess. You can do bone broth if you want it savory.
Ooh, this is a good question. You don't break out in acne from eating meat. I'm wondering why that happens to me. My skin cleared from eating meat, but it might be, I don't know what you guys think, but it might be oxalate dumping.
Yes, it could be oxalate dumping. It could just be detoxing, and your skin is just trying to purge a little bit before it starts getting better. For me, I didn't start breaking out more, but my eczema and psoriasis got itchier, and that was definitely oxalate dumping. So for a lot of people who want to heal their skin, their conditions tend to get worse before it gets better. Yeah.
So long to heal, because I've been carnivore over 3 years now, and I still have some skin issues and breakouts, even with the lion diet. I still have some breakouts. So skin is the most annoying thing.
The longest to heal. Agreed.
Yeah. And I have a friend who's almost 2 years in, and still is having kind of like that keto rash. But tallow lotion is really helping the itch. So that's something to keep in mind, like using animal fat on it. That can definitely help ease the itching.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I feel like dairy causes me some sinus ear problems. So you think it's more cheese related because it's aged, or just dairy in general? I'm lactose intolerant, but I can tolerate that amount that I eat.
I don't know if it's the aged cheese, if it is dairy in general, or if it's pasteurized. Actually, if this person can clarify if it's raw dairy or pasteurized, because for me, it does make quite a big difference. I don't tend to flare up when I eat raw unpasteurized dairy. It's just gentler and it's easier to digest. So I'd say like experiment with raw versus pasteurized.
Have you ever tried A2?
What, Jess?
Have you ever tried A2 dairy?
So the raw dairy that I get is usually A2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought those were two separate things. I thought A2, it was like pasteurized A2 and then raw.
Pretty sure the raw is A2 as well. I think so.
Yeah,
I think sure it's raw unpasteurized. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the raw A2 is what you just said, Bella, but I did buy some A2 the other day. There's a company called A2 Dairy, and I did buy some whole milk A2, but it wasn't raw, it was pasteurized. So I think you can also have raw that is A2.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Huh. Sweet. That's good. As long as it's not illegal.
Right. And for the person who's asking about the skin with dairy, you may have to eliminate all of it for a couple of weeks and then add back each one, like one at a time, a couple of days apart, and see how it affects you. That's really the best way to figure out which thing is bothering you.
Yes. Okay, so this one's for you, Bella. It says, Bella, I used your equation to calculate LDL ratio, I believe, and explained it to a nutritionist, and they couldn't believe I knew it. So you're...
Oh, good job, Jay. I think his name is JJ. Good job. Yeah, so just to clarify, I think it's HDL to triglycerides. That's the key ratio we want to calculate and look at. And Serena, you can explain more, but for what I have read and learned, especially from like fellow carnivore doctors who are specialists in heart health, like Dr. Ovadia, he's excellent for this. So you just want that result when you divide HDL by triglycerides to be as low as possible. So higher your HDL, lower your triglycerides, the better.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can absolutely, when you go to have your blood work done, ask them about the LDL cholesterol and have it broken down. There are 2 different kinds of LDL cholesterol too. I know this is a little bit of a different question, but it's really important to have those broken down into pattern A and pattern B, because one is bad and one is good. And if your total cholesterol number is a little bit high, knowing the breakdown of your LDL can change that and make them not worry about it if the doctor is worried.
Awesome.
Huh. So have any of you cured any allergies?
Yep, I have. Yeah, so I used to be allergic to pets, dogs, cats, all furry animals. I would get itchy skin, especially around my eyes, and I would get a stuffy, congested nose anytime I get near animals. And I grew up with dogs, so it was just really sad that I couldn't touch them, I couldn't cuddle them. After going carnivore, no allergy to pets. I have a golden retriever, I have a French bulldog, like perfect, like no allergies anymore. It's amazing.
That's amazing.
I was allergic to cats, and I live in Okinawa right now, and there's cats everywhere. There's street cats everywhere, are here, and some of them are really friendly and they're just adorable. So I go up and pet them, even though I know I'm allergic, and I haven't gotten any allergic reactions from petting them.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yay, that's great.
I think that's really interesting. I wonder what do you think is triggering the allergies then? Like, that's so interesting how much food can impact every single aspect of your life.
I really wonder if it is connected with us not eating seed oils anymore, because I've also heard a lot of carnivores, when they cut out the seed oils and they go carnivore for like X amount of time, they don't even sunburn. So they don't even need sunblock. Their skin can now tan, and that's my case too. So I wonder if it's connected to that.
Interesting. Do you think seed oils play a bigger picture than like sugars and things like that? Do you think seed oils are more important to cut out than sugar?
That is a tough question. I can't say which is more evil. I can just say they're both evil. So just cut it out. Yeah.
I think I agree with that. I think that I don't think you can choose between the two. I think it's both of them. I think we got to cut all of those things out. Don't you?
Yeah. Agreed. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is hydrogenated lard bad?
Hydrogenated lard. Can you guys explain what is hydrogenated?
I don't know.
I think it's the hydrogenated part that's bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the way I'm pretty sure it's the way they pasteurize it. Or the process that they use is what makes hydrogenated oils bad, I believe.
Okay.
I've never even heard of hydrogenated lard. I can't even pronounce it very well.
I can't look it up because I'm using my phone.
Yeah. Well, we know that lard is fine, so pork fat is perfect. Yeah.
This says, I always keto, and the first month I started off with a lot of energy, and after that I seem to lose it all. Do you find this to be the same with your meat challenge? My energy was pretty stable the whole entire Lion diet. I have heard that people do get fatigue though when starting the Lion diet or a couple weeks into the Lion diet. Did you guys experience any sort of fatigue when you transitioned?
So I did beef only, I think last year for a couple months actually. And I remember the first 2 weeks, it felt like I had to go through adaptation all over again. Yeah. So, and I think it might be my taste buds and my body just adjusting to the lack of variety and just like eating the same old thing over and over and over. So if anything, it could just be palate fatigue when it comes to beef only though. Now with her question, she was always keto in the first month of starting off. It could be electrolytes, not enough electrolytes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could also be not eating enough or not eating enough fat. All of those things play into how you feel. I felt like that for a couple of days, and I upped the beef tallow, and I feel like that really helped me. I typically eat a lot more fat, I think, than what I was eating on the Lion diet. So sometimes you might need more fat or you might need more calories.
Exactly.
Yeah. And someone who is making this along with us said that their water's boiling. So how hot does their water need to be?
Oh my We're taking so much time just chatting.
Okay.
When your water in your pot is at a boil, we're going to lower the heat to medium or low medium. If you want it to cook quicker, medium is fine. If you want a silkier texture, low medium will do the trick. So turn that heat down, and then we're gonna put it in the egg pudding bowl. So let's just do one step at a time.
Okay.
And turn that heat down to low medium.
Okay.
Okay, so once the heat is down, we're going to, and maybe just whisk our egg pudding a little bit more before we put it in, just so it's extra beautifully whisked. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, once you're ready to put it in, just be careful of your fingers that you don't burn your skin. Carefully put in our egg pudding bowl into the pot. And let me know when you do that, because there's one more step.
Done.
You did it, Serena?
Yeah.
Okay, let me do mine.
Did you do yours, Jess?
Yet.
Oh, okay, let's wait for Jess.
So
Okay.
you're fine. You're fine. You can go on without me.
Cover it. Cover it. It'll boil faster.
Oh.
Yeah, cover the water with the... We do need the lid. I forgot to mention at the beginning, lid is a key piece. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So Serena, since we're at the same step, we're going to close the pot with the lid completely.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, Serena, we should set a timer for 5 minutes. We'll check in 5 minutes.
Okay.
And someone said, can I give my 11-month-old daughter raw milk or raw milk products? I don't know. I don't have any kids. I've never dealt with kids before.
I totally would.
But I've heard a lot of great carnivore families and how they give their babies and kids raw dairy. So I don't see why that would be an issue.
Yeah, and I totally would. I don't have young kids anymore. My kids are older, but I totally would do that. But there is a good Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, it's called, oh dear. And I don't think Wendy, I haven't seen Wendy on here. It's called Carnivore Kids, I think is what it's called.
Nice.
And it's a really good group. It's got several thousand people in it. Carnivore Kids, I think that's what it's called. Real Food Carnivore Kids, I think is what it's called. But it's a great group, lots of great advice in there. So if you have a question like that, that's a great place to get the answer.
Awesome.
Okay, I just put mine in my bowl and I put the lid on it, so I'm with you guys.
Yay! And the heat is down, right? Low, medium?
Yes, it's on. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we'll just wait a couple minutes.
Salt or no salt?
Oh, so you can add salt into the egg pudding or you can add it at the end, so it really doesn't matter. But it should be your own preference. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay. And I have a question for you. How long have you been doing this, and when did you learn? Like, what are your first memories with making egg pudding?
Oh, okay. So egg pudding I've been eating since I was a baby. This is actually a dish that a lot of Asian families, I think it's quite a popular dish in Japanese culture as well as Korean culture. So it's great for toddlers, infants, babies because of that beautiful, gentle, like pudding texture. And it's you don't need teeth to like eat it. So I've been having it since I was a baby. My mom would make it with chicken bone broth. And when I grew up, she would literally make it for breakfast every single morning. So I've been having it my whole life.
That's awesome.
And you stopped eating it when you were vegan?
Oh my gosh, that's right. I stopped because egg is not vegan, right? So I stopped when I was vegan. So 6 years I didn't eat any eggs, meat, nothing animal based basically. And I literally started dreaming about eggs and egg pudding and fried eggs because I loved eggs so much. But yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, I guess it's probably good that your family like raised you eating that way. Because if you weren't raised eating that way, maybe you wouldn't have like. Do you think you still would have left veganism so soon, or as soon as you did?
I do think I would have had a lot more trouble going from vegan back to, or not back, but back to eating animal foods, and definitely a lot more trouble going from vegan straight into carnivore, because I hear a lot of vegans who literally were raised being vegetarian or vegan. Can you imagine them eating meat for the first time? Like that could be almost repulsive or very difficult to digest. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
Oh no, you're good. You can go.
No, I was just going to say I was vegan for a while. I was vegetarian for a while, and I did have a bad reaction after being a vegetarian when I added in meat for the first time. It was not fun. It was not fun at all. It had been 5 or 6 years, and it was hard.
Yeah, takes a lot of adjusting.
How did you get over your meat aversion when you switched to carnivore?
Okay, I didn't have a meat aversion when I switched over. So that's probably because like my whole life before going vegan, I was eating very heavy meat, meals, eggs, all of those animal foods. So I didn't have meat aversion. I just had nausea because from the fat and the density of the meats. And I hear that's like a big adaptation symptom for a lot of carnivores too. But it was difficult for me because I was craving for so much fat that I kind of just was like, I'll just tolerate the nausea because my body's screaming for all this fat.
Yeah.
So do we stir it or anything? We just put the lid on and keep it on the stove.
Okay, so once the egg pudding bowl is in the pot of water and the lid is on, don't touch it. Like what we're doing now, we're not touching it, just waiting for it to steam. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, let's see if we have any more. Off topic, but what does your sweater say, Bella?
That's such a good question, and I feel so embarrassed because I don't know. I don't know how to read Chinese, okay? I know how to speak it, I can understand it fluently, but I have yet to learn how to write and read. But it's like a Chinese New Year saying, that's all I know. Because it's last day of Lunar New Year today.
Oh.
Nice.
Cool. And it's the year of the bunny, right?
Yes, Year of the Rabbit.
Rabbit, okay. Year of the rabbit.
Nice. That's awesome. So people are asking about the egg pudding. So Bella does have an egg pudding video on her YouTube channel, and we will put the recipe in the show notes of this post.
Perfect.
I have a question about this. How how easy is it for someone to save this dish if they make a is this dish something you have to follow the directions meticulously, or can you make a lot of mistakes and still have a good product at the end?
Okay, so we shall see with our 3 egg puddings. Let's see how, how good it comes out. But it takes a couple of tries. Like when I first tried it and learned it from my mom, it took me a couple disastrous failures before I got the hang of it. Because you either like put way too much liquid where it never turns into pudding and it's just forever liquidy, or like way too little liquid or overcooked. So I would say it's like intermediate level cooking, this dish. Yeah.
Okay, and I thought what Jess was asking, but she wasn't. So this is another good question. Can you make this in advance and save it? When you said, can you save it? I thought you meant, can you save it in the refrigerator? Can you?
Okay, so if you want to have it like the next morning, enjoy it cold and chilled, because that's also like a really new flavor, because it's like a refreshing dessert almost. So I know a lot of people love it chilled, but if you chill it, you cannot reheat it. Because if you reheat it, it's just going to turn into like omelet, scrambled egg.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of egg pudding? All the benefits come with eggs.
Yeah, basically, like eggs, if you add animal fats, you're getting all the beautiful nutrients from that. But I think the benefits of steaming your eggs, it's easier to digest. It's great for toddlers. It's such a good dish when you're sick and feeling under the weather, because it's so comforting and you don't have to chew so hard. You can just slurp it up and you're nourished.
Yeah.
Point. I'm really excited because I've seen people making your egg pudding, and I've seen you making it. I've literally never made it because it's very intimidating. So
I understand. Yeah.
So I'm really excited, and I hope maybe I'll get beginner's luck and have like the best egg pudding.
You will absolutely, as long as you don't drop it.
No, I
don't drop it.
Do you drop your food often?
Yeah, I drop my food a lot. On one of the Lion Diet days, I made my meal and I was taking a picture because you have to document it, and I dropped the entire plate on the ground and I had to remake my food because it's glass. And everyone was saying that I should have just ate the meat on the ground, and I was like, I don't want to eat shards of glass.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I am known for making mistakes, making a huge mess, and dropping things and not doing things correctly. So that is how I cook.
Which thing was it that we held up our dishes to go take a picture and it all slid off your plate? Was that the deviled eggs?
The deviled eggs.
Yeah, she held up her plate and all of her eggs slid off of her plate.
Oh, I've definitely done that before, where I want to show the steak and all the blood and steak falls off. Yeah. If you could recommend 3 things to eat on a daily basis for everyone, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good.
Well, 2 of them is in my handle, so that's easy. Steak, butter. But if you can't tolerate butter, you can also just have any animal fats. Fatty meats is perfect. If you're sensitive to butter, we should check on the egg pudding. Ghee, lard, whatever, and then eggs. 3 foods. Yeah.
Okay. What? Check on it. What do we need to do?
Okay, so when we check on the egg pudding, we're going to need a spoon. Okay, so get a spoon ready, because we're going to use this spoon to tap the belly of the egg pudding. So when we do tap it, if it has like a bounce and it's clearly solid, that means it's pretty much done. If it's liquid, it's not done. So just tap.
I think it's solid.
Okay, so I think. Oh, how about yours, Jess?
Can you see?
Mine's liquid.
Okay, Serena's, if you guys look at Serena's, it does look pretty solid. Now, Serena, is there like a bit of a jiggle when you do the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the middle is still liquidy, so let's steam for a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Since mine is liquidy and Jess is still liquid, I'm going to do a couple more minutes for us. So I'll set the timer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we might need to up the heat.
Yeah, maybe.
I turned mine up a little.
Okay.
Okay.
Should the water still be like bubbling at all?
It should be like the lightest simmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about minus.
So then there was another question following up to this one, I would assume, is what carnivore foods do you not recommend? I would say be careful about processed meats, and especially you're buying them in the grocery store, because a lot of times they hide not so great ingredients in there. So that would be one that I wouldn't recommend for people.
That's a great tip. For me, I would just be careful of any processed meats that might have sugar sneaked in. For example, bacon. A lot of the standard brands of bacon have sugar. They have a lot of strange chemicals and additives. So try to go for sugar-free bacon.
And I would say just don't overdo the dairy. It's really difficult, especially for women who come from restrictive backgrounds, low calorie backgrounds, because that dairy just tastes so good, but it does have addictive kind of properties to it. So it is really easy to overdo the dairy and the cheese. So that's the only thing that I would caution. And I think, have cheese on your burger, have heavy cream in your coffee or your tea, or, some whipped cream as a treat, but just kind of be mindful that it is easy to overdo the dairy.
Yes.
And this says, my bowl is bubbling around hot. Should I turn the heat down?
Oh, okay. So if your bowl is like dancing around and bubbling, yes, please turn the heat down. We don't want scrambled egg pudding at a lower heat. Yeah.
Okay. And then what happens if it gets solid? This is the person that's making it with us too. So I think they're a little ahead of us.
Okay, good. So if yours is solid and it has like a, bouncy pudding texture, you can feel free to carefully take it out and let it rest on the table. So it's done cooking if it's solid. Yeah.
Okay. I have to go to an Italian place I was going to order the only option. Okay. So this is kind of a question relating to like if you go out to eat and there's not a lot on the menu. What do you guys do if you go to a restaurant and there's not a lot of meat options on the menu to order?
Okay, so I always eat before going to any restaurant. Like that's just a habit that I've built. Anytime I go out, even if I know that there's going to be meat on the menu, I just eat something so I don't go into that restaurant starving or on an empty stomach. I have also brought in sticks of butter to restaurants for like extra nutrients. If there's any type of meat, you can always say that you're sensitive to seed oils or whatever that may cause you issues and request for it to be cooked X, Y, and Z or without X, Y, and Z. So I've always done that and it works. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been to Longhorn and Buffalo Wild Wings and asked for the meat to be cooked plain, no seasonings, with real butter if they have it, and no oils or anything like that. And that's how it comes out.
Ooh, interesting. Can you cover the bowl with tin foil to stop water going in the pudding?
I've seen a lot of people do that. That's actually a great tip to prevent water going in. So yes.
Okay,
Mine's done.
Is diarrhea an issue in the beginning? Have diarrhea.
It was for me. I had horrible diarrhea. And I know because we have food and we're cooking, I'm not going to go into the details and get all TMI, but it was pretty rough. I think that was the roughest adaptation phase I had to get through. Yeah.
Yeah. For any diarrhea, I came from a background of having the opposite problem. So I think going forward just like balanced it out. Go in one direction or the other. So this person says, what do you think about eating mayonnaise with hamburgers? Why or why not? If you like mayonnaise, you can actually make your own mayonnaise in a carnivore mayonnaise with bacon grease too. And it is so much.
Yeah.
I think they call it baconade. So all you need is the bacon fat, blend it with the raw yolk, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And make sure the bacon fat isn't hot or cold. You want it kind of room temperature, but still liquidy. And you pour it in while you're blending the yolk, and it gets thick and white and turns into mayonnaise.
So it seems like there are some more people making it along with us. Do you want to just quickly recap the directions that we've come to thus far? So if they're behind, they can follow. Okay, so hi, Lauren. So glad that you're making it with us. So for anyone who wants to make it, here's just the summary. You take however many eggs you want. We did 4. I'll just explain what exactly we did. 4 raw eggs, crack it in a bowl or crack it in some type of measuring cup and match your liquid of choice. We're using water. Serena's using milk. Match the amount of raw egg exactly to the liquid. So 1-to-1 ratio. If it's 2 cups of eggs, do 2 cups of liquid. Put it all into your egg pudding bowl of choice. Mix it up really well. And then in the meantime,
get a big pot of water, not a big pot, just a pot of water, like 2 inches of water. Yes, like Jess. Get that water to a boil, and when it is to a boil, you put in your egg pudding bowl, turn down the heat to low medium or medium, close the lid, and steam for about 5 to 8 minutes. So the amount of steaming, I do have to mention, it really varies because like the altitude of where you live actually affects how long you need to steam. You know, how big or small your eggs are affects the time frame that you need to steam. So that's why we're kind of keeping an eye and patting as we go. Yeah.
So have you noticed that the quality of the eggs also change it? So if you get like cage-free versus just normal eggs, if that
You know, I've never really paid attention to that because I usually just get pasture-raised eggs. That's the thing. So, like, I've never tried it with cage-free, unfortunately, but I don't think it would affect the way that it needs to be cooked because it's still an egg and the texture is the same.
what happens if you overcook it?
It's fine. Actually, in Korean cuisine, they tend to overcook it to the point where it comes puffy and kind of fills over the bowl. So it's also a great way to enjoy egg pudding is like overcooked fluffier. So yeah, you can.
Awesome.
I think Serena, yours is done, right? So
Yeah, mine's
you
done.
took about what, 6 minutes of steaming? Look at that.
Yeah. Might have been closer to 7. I took it out when your second alarm went off. So I think
Okay,
7
perfect.
minutes.
So 7 minutes for Serena.
And this is what it looks like on top. Like it's
Oh, perfect. That means
That
it's perfect.
Okay.
Good.
That hers is because she used cream instead of water.
That's what I was thinking. I think maybe milk cooks a little bit faster than plain water. Yeah.
very interesting.
Interesting. And was yours raw, Serena? I don't remember.
My what?
Your cream?
It was goat's milk.
Oh, goat's milk. Okay.
Yeah.
So Serena, I have a question with goat milk. Does it have kind of like a funky aged flavor?
No,
Okay,
I don't think
so it just
so.
tastes-
I don't think so at all. Yeah. And I don't usually do a lot of milk, you know, because milk has so many carbs in it, so much sugar, you know, when you break it down. So I don't usually drink milk on the carnivore diet. With the exception of on vacation in Maine last year, we found some raw milk and I definitely drank some of that. But I know that goat milk, a lot of times goat products are easier to digest. So this has 11 grams of carbs in a whole cup.
Nice.
I'm not worried about it in the egg pudding, but I don't believe I would sit and have a glass of it. It has too many sugars and carbs for me.
Nice.
So Bella, do you know what dress they're talking about? Can you see the question on the screen?
Yes.
Someone wants to know
Yes.
you got your dress.
Oh, okay. I actually only have one green dress. I'm guessing it's the one with like a V front, and is it the short sleeve one where it kind of goes off the shoulder? If that's the one with pattern, I got that from Topshop in New York. Like when I was studying in New York, I still remember my trip there. I was like, oh my God, it's on sale and it fits so well. I got it from Topshop. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a good question. I'm hearing to stay away from oil. Could you elaborate on that? I'm sure you've talked about it, but I might have missed it. So I'm seed oils. So
Okay. Yeah, if it's seed oils, then I think we all three of us can agree that it's best to avoid seed oils because there's so much better options out there, you know, like animal fats, butter, tallow, lard, even just fatty meats. It's easier for our body to digest and it won't cause any inflammation. And earlier we were talking about how when we cut out the seed oils, we don't burn in the sun and we're able to tan easier. And possibly it healed our allergies. So that's what we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
how do you feel about avocado oil and olive oil and coconut oil?
Those are more like neutral oils to me. And I personally have not experimented with those oils just because I have butter. So if I have butter, I don't really need to experiment with anything else. Animal fats to me is just superior to those fats.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I've used the Primal Foods avocado oil mayonnaise a little bit here and there. I don't like homemade mayonnaise as much as I like real, you know, like craft mayonnaise, but of course I'm never going to use that again. So I think in a bind, the Primal Foods mayo isn't going to probably hurt you. It's avocado oil. Kelly uses it too. It's not that bad. But typically I just find something else to use rather than the avocado oil mayonnaise.
And so this says, I think you should cook and talk all the time. This is so much fun and made something cool. Thanks for making it a with.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. This is honestly so fun. I've never done this before live, and it's so much fun. So thank you for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. Somebody says, what do you recommend to boost appetite on carnivore besides exercise, for example? If you think you need to eat more, you just need to eat more and up it gradually. What do you guys think?
Dairy, raw cheese
true.
opens up appetite. So that's another great tactic for those who need to gain healthy weight. You are so lucky because you can enjoy all of the delicious dairy.
That's true.
When I ate a lot of fat, it increased my appetite. When I was eating a lot more fat.
Interesting.
Yeah. So let's see. What about homemade ghee? That's better than olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil, even though it's high in calories. I would say homemade ghee is definitely better than all of those things.
100%.
Yeah, because ghee is animal fat and it's just clarified butter. So 100,000 times better than those oils.
Yeah, anytime you have a choice, always pick an animal-based fat over something else, always.
Yes. Made it with us too. If you guys made this with us, please post it and tag in it on your story so we can see how much better you are at making egg pudding than me.
And if it turns out as a disaster, also tag us and I'll help you guys troubleshoot. I would love to see the disaster.
Awesome.
So I'll have to probably help troubleshoot on mine.
Awesome.
Okay, let's see.
Jess, I think we might need to check on our puddings. So let's give it a tap. Okay, so mine is definitely done. I'm going to take it out.
Okay. Somebody's asking, how do I calculate my macros? I'm also trying to lose body fat on carnivore. Depends on how long you've been carnivore. I would say find an app, MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, Carb Manager. And if you're just starting out, set it to maintenance calories and you want to get used to eating that much for a while to fix your metabolism and heal your body. And then you can lower it a little bit if you want to try to lose weight after a little while, after 30 or 60 days. But I recommend doing maintenance calories for a while. Is it done, Jess?
Mine's jiggling. Mine's like the
jiggle. It looks good.
Wiggle, see it jiggle.
So is there usually like a liquid on the top of it?
If it's a little bit like watery on the top, but it still is jiggly, it's good. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
So is this when I put my duck fat on it?
Oh, yes. Good job for bringing that up. Okay, so since your egg pudding has rested for a bit, it's not piping hot, you can start. Yes, you can put as much fat as you want as that delicious fatty glaze and sauce. Yes.
Okay, I'm going for it.
Delicious.
Okay, this question says, as a 21-year-old, how much calories do you recommend daily? I don't think it really will go by your age. I think we'd need more information than that. So I don't know. Would you ever know how many calories someone eat based off their age?
It's very, very difficult to say because, like, how active are you? You know, how many meals per day are you eating? How's your sleep? How's your hormones? It's just too many factors that we also have to know more about. So it's hard to say. Yay!
That's like when people ask me, how long will it take for me to lose weight? I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, that's a very difficult question.
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, let me see your egg pudding real quick, just so we can show everyone watching because it's so beautiful.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, I can't really see it.
That looks good.
Ooh, okay, that's actually very well steamed. I think that might be perfect. Yeah.
And here's mine with all the delicious fat on it. Are you putting anything on yours?
Yes, mine is right here. It's still pretty hot, so I'm using my sleeves, but
okay.
Ours is all great.
Awesome.
It's all fine.
Okay. What are you putting anything on yours, Bella, or are you eating it plain?
Okay, so I would salt it right now to, flavor it up if you like extra salt or, salt on meals. I personally don't need salt, so I won't add salt, but this is the time to add salt. You can actually also add your salt before you whisk everything up when it's still raw. So you have both. Okay. I just use my butter. Mm-hmm.
You don't eat any salt at all?
I actually don't. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I thought salt was an essential thing that human body needed.
That's what I thought too. And then I started finding out that Amber O'Hearn, do you guys know Amber O'Hearn? Like she's one of like the OG carnivore veterans. Apparently, and Kelly Hogan told me this, a lot of the veteran carnivores and the initial zero carb. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They didn't need salt either. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, so I'm not an anomaly. Apparently, you can still feel great and thrive without any salt. So for me personally, I think it's not an essential because I don't need it. Yeah.
Is in your butter?
No salt in my butter. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
What about iodine? Someone said.
Oh, that's very personal. I think you have to experiment with that. And I recommend Dr. Bright and also Dr. Berry for more information on iodine.
Yeah, I interviewed Dr. Bright last week, and she said she would recommend probably 1 to 2 drops. I told her that at one point after I read the iodine crisis, I was raising it. There were a bunch of us raising it. I was up to like 25 drops. And she said, no. Do 1 or 2 drops. It'll build up in your system, and that's all you need. Just do it every day.
Yes.
I just did an interview, and they were telling me that fertility issues, iodine helps with fertility too.
I didn't know that.
Apparently, iodine is so essential for our female hormones. And I think it's pretty important how you start weaning on it, like how you start taking it initially. That's very important because a lot of people will have extreme detox symptoms and it's kind of shocking. So I would also read the book Iodine Crisis for like all of the details on iodine.
Yeah, I agree.
We should add that one to our book club that we do.
We should.
We're reading Big Facts Surprise right now. Have you read that one?
Yeah. I have not, but I've heard.
You need to.
Okay.
He's reading it multiple times. It's Nina
Teicholz.
Yes.
Yeah. She's the author. It's The Big Fat Surprise, and she documents the history of why fat is vilified.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
really, really good. And she came to Dr. Chapey's book club for our last meeting to talk about it. She's super smart, super informative. Yeah. And that book, Jess and I are both reading it for the 4th time.
Fourth time? Wow.
That's good.
Okay.
It's so good. You can get just nuggets of information each time you read it. You learn something new.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if we have any more questions. Everyone's just saying a lot of thanks and a lot of people cooking along with us in the comments. So thank you again. And don't forget to post them and tag us in it. And if you, like Bella said, if you don't cook it correctly, to still tag her and she can help you fix what you did wrong.
Yes, please tag me. I would love to.
Yeah.
How much fat do you recommend consuming per day? I think that's another personal one based on you, because like I can't eat if the second I eat too much fat, I get sick and I get nauseous. So the line is very, very sharp for me, or whatever you call it. Like once I cross that line, I'm sick. So I think that is definitely something you have to play around with, and it's very individual. What do you think?
That's a really good sign, Jess, that you have such a clear signal for how much fat you need, because then you know exactly when you need to stop. You know exactly how much fat you're craving. And I think that's the end goal for a lot of us, is to be able to just read our body signals and know exactly how much fat and protein, just meat in general. And for me, like I have definitely learned I'm more on the higher fat camp for us carnivores, because I just eat so much butter, I eat so much fatty meat, and I personally feel so great, and I also just crave for it. So yeah, I have my butter right here. It's very personal. It really is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I do between 70 and 80% fat. Like when I track, that's about what I end up doing. If somebody asked what book we were just talking about, it was The Big Fat Surprise is the book we were talking about.
And was saying the iodine crisis is also a good one that you can check out.
Iodine.
Do you ever put butter in your egg pudding?
That's literally what I'm doing right now.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Yeah, Go ahead, Jess.
You're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd put the duck fat on, and then I also put a little bit of butter. So mine's like very soupy on top. It's covered in.
You can see
fat.
it.
Yeah.
Ooh. So how do you know if you're craving fat or just the taste of butter, or is it same thing?
Okay, that's a really good question. If you can tolerate butter and it doesn't give you any negative repercussions or inflammation, because I know a lot of new carnivores and just carnivores in general can't really tolerate butter the best. But if you are craving for butter, I would say just eat it. Like, eat it as much as you need and see how you feel. Like, that's something we need to emphasize more on. Instead of just doing things because I'm doing it or Jess is doing it, you have to monitor, how do you feel the next day? How's your sleep? How's your energy levels? Is your skin improving over time? Like, really monitor your symptoms and your progress. But for me, I just listened to my cravings in the beginning. I wanted a stick of butter. I ate a stick of butter, and I just kind of went with that. And I healed pretty much everything with butter, steak, eggs, animal fats. Yeah.
Amazing.
Were you a tracker before? Did you track your calories when you were vegan?
I did a lot of tracking, restrict, counting. Now I don't. None of that. It's so freeing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is your take on the whole "this diet is so restrictive" comment?
Yeah. So when I think of my past life on vegan diet, right, where I'm literally counting every last bit of calorie to be under a certain number, where I am binging after starving myself and I am killing myself in the gym out of guilt. That is a life of like restriction, of zero freedom, right? And I'm constantly thinking about food all the time. So I have zero freedom from food thoughts, and that's not great, right? Because we're being controlled by thinking about food and eating. So for me, it's not restrictive because of how I feel and how I can live. So I don't feel like I'm tied to food. I don't feel like I have to restrict anything, and I can just enjoy life. So it's not restrictive for me.
Same.
I agree, 100%.
100%.
I have a question for you, but first I want to answer this question. It says, can you please discuss how often, if at all, you get sick with colds, flu, or COVID, for example? If you get sick on carnivore, are your symptoms mild? Thanks so much for sharing. So I'll go first because mine's easy. I haven't been sick in over 5 years. So I haven't gotten the flu, the sniffles, a sore throat, anything like that. I haven't gotten COVID. So I have not yet gotten sick on carnivore, but I've heard bone broth is a good. What about you two?
And also, bone broth egg pudding is a great dish for when you're sick. Yeah. So I actually feel like I did get COVID. However, I don't personally worry about it where it's like, oh my gosh, I need to get tested, I need to get treated and all of that. I wasn't too worried about it. And it's funny because at the same time, my boyfriend, Steak and Butter Guy, also got sick because I must have gave it to him, right? The time it took me to heal versus the time it took him to heal said everything. It just said everything. I healed within 3 days and I was back to feeling like myself. He took about 2 weeks to recover. So whether or not you get sick, I do have to emphasize, like, the recovery time is totally different too.
I've been sick, I think, twice since I had COVID. One was just a really bad cold at Christmas time last year. But then in July, I did get COVID. I was in bed for about 8 days. It was not fun. I was pretty sick, terrible back pain, high fever, just your typical stuff. It wasn't any different than when I had it a year and a half before that. Except that I was in bed 11 days that time. So being a carnivore didn't really make a difference for me with COVID, but I don't get sick very often. So I guess there's that.
Nice. And so then my follow-up question to you, Bella, is did you know any mental health differences from switching from vegan to carnivore?
That's the most profound effect I've personally felt. No anxiety, boost of confidence, no more depression. However, quitting the coffee, it kind of came back. Okay, I do have to say that. Like, quitting the coffee, I felt like some mental health hurdles because it's just from the withdrawals, but like I just felt so sad and unmotivated. And that lasted for a while, but it's over. And it has nothing to do with carnivore. It's just quitting that last bit of plant beverage. But with carnivore results, less anxiety, more confidence, no more depression. I'm more tolerant and resilient to stressful situations. That's my favorite one.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to heal from your psoriasis and eczema?
Okay, so we did mention earlier that it takes skin to heal a little bit longer, and that's kind of that's a true test of patience and consistency, right? Because when you're not seeing your acne getting better or your psoriasis is getting worse before it's getting better, it can be very discouraging. But you can hear it from us. Like Jess said, it takes more time. I'm saying it took like 6 months for me to like feel that my psoriasis and eczema was finally going away. And I leaned on antibiotics and creams and medication all my life. So it does make sense that something like that will take longer. Acne too, just takes a couple more months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Did
absolutely.
you ever Accutane for your acne?
I personally didn't. I never wanted to take anything pill or oral, so I didn't. Did you?
Yeah, I did birth control and Accutane. I did.
Oh.
Oncologist told me and nothing worked. It was so bad. I was a high school girl and I was chubby because I had gut issues. And the Accutane just dried out my skin. So I had flaky skin on my face and was chubby and in high school and wearing makeup to try to cover it and just looked like a snake, like shedding its skin. It was so bad. Don't ever take Accutane.
I feel for you. I feel for you. Like us ladies who have skin issues and hormonal acne or anything to do with our face, it really affects our self-esteem, you know? So that's another thing with Carnivore. When you see your skin get better and you get that nice little glow, like you feel good. You feel confident about yourself. So we encourage you guys to just give it more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we want to try the egg pudding?
Okay, yeah, let's actually do a taste test.
Okay, somebody asked what we drink. I just drink water usually.
Yeah, water, sparkling water for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like the sparkling water. Do you like, what brand of sparkling water do you do?
Okay, I love Gerolsteiner is my favorite.
Yes.
You
Me
like
too.
that too? Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's do a taste test. Yeah, so it would be great if we can get like a jiggle in, because that's the best part about the egg pudding is how it jiggles. Yes.
Somebody take a screenshot for us and send it to us.
Oh yes, please take a screenshot, guys.
Send it to me. Ready?
Ready? Okay, let's take. Oh my god.
Ooh.
So
I
good.
made mine perfect. This is the best I've ever made mine. How about you guys? Good?
It's because you had good company.
Yes! You guys are good company. Good luck.
I can 100% say this is the best I've ever made egg pudding.
It's your first time. Bravo. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a great teacher. Thank you.
Yes.
This is really good.
Really
and I
good.
can imagine this being so filling. It's so easy to make, and I bet do you just stay full all day or for the majority of the day after you eat this?
So I personally treat it as like a little side dish because I tend to eat a lot, but I've definitely heard a lot of carnivores love it as like a light meal, you know, a little appetizer snack. So yeah, it's
Interesting. Do you have one of those flame things? Like, I wonder if you like toasted the.
Oh,
that is such a good idea. I don't have the flame thing, but if anybody wants to experiment with that, you probably could get a bit of a crust, although I think it needs sugar to have a crust, right?
What if you
well,
you do like a butter and crust and brown the butter?
Maybe.
you might be able to, because I know you can do a creme brulee without the sugar and still get a little bit of a crust on it. I make it sometimes and just put it on broil in the oven to get it brown on top.
Nice.
Oh, it's so hot. Mine's still a little hot.
Yeah, you want
That is delicious.
That's so good. I'm so proud of myself. Thank you so much.
Job.
so you guys. Good job. Good job.
And you didn't drop it, Jess.
I know. We're there. I got a bite before I dropped it. I might still drop it though. So how has Carnivore impacted your recovery from workouts and injuries? Bella, how have you been out your whole time with Carnivore? Recently start working out?
Very recently. This is probably the newest drastic life change that I've made. And I actually didn't work out or go to the gym at all when I first started Carnivore because I committed to just building a healthier relationship with things that I wasn't having a good one with. So like food, snacks, binging, and working my ass off in the gym. So I stopped all of that, restricting too. But I recently started working out, and 2 days ago, I went to Sean Baker's place to work out with him, and it was so difficult, so difficult. I'm literally still sore right now because we did arms, but it's very empowering, and I feel ready to start working out again. And that's all thanks to the healing that I've had on Carnivore.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
Did you do rows?
Okay, so we didn't do the rows, but we did the Wingate at the end, but a lot of like cable and this huge, like, I don't know the terms, guys. I just
Viking press.
Oh, Viking press. Viking. Max is here. So
yeah, tell Max we said thank you.
Yeah, thank you, babe. Thank you.
Wow, and you filmed it, of course, right?
Actually, I didn't, just because I wanted to give it my all and focus, you know, and I was literally so intimidated during the workouts. I was like, I'm just going to give it my all. If it's an embarrassment and I look like a fool, whatever. But it went well because Max was there just like, you know, cheering me on and stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. You should go back and then do like a little, like a story or video with him.
I'll try. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. It looks like we've pretty much answered. Oh, this one's a good one. If we can do this one really quick. How does it affect your menstrual cycle? I've recently prioritized red meat and zero mood symptoms. Did you have a drastic change between vegan to carnivore with your menstrual cycle?
Night and day, 100%. And for me, it's as different as it can get because I went from 0 period at all. I didn't have a cycle for 2 years. And then I regained my cycle after going carnivore. So it took a couple months for my cycle to regulate and normalize and kind of be every month regular on the dot. But once it became regular, I did start noticing like, oh, wow, I don't have PMS. I'm not irritable. I'm not crying my eyes out all the time. So the mood is so stable, especially for us women who are menstruating. And I've definitely also felt a correlation with eating more fat and a better cycle experience.
Mm-hmm. You too, Serena, right?
Yeah, I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know what's coming anymore.
Wow. Yeah. I used to get such bad cramps that I would shake uncontrollably from the pain and then throw up because I was in so much pain. And now I don't like any PMS symptoms. My boobs get bigger and that's about it. And I'm not going to complain about that.
Right. Love it.
So we've been on here for about an hour now. Do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
What do you guys want to do? Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
Sorry,
the egg pudding. No, I was just going to say the egg pudding was wonderful, and you are such a wonderful guest. We hope to have you back. We'll have to make something else.
Sure. I'd be happy to come on and invite you guys on to mine anytime. I love you guys. This was so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you. I'm going to go eat the rest of this. Thank you guys so much for watching and asking so many wonderful questions. I will be reposting this on Instagram so you can watch the replay if you didn't catch the beginning. Other than that, if we didn't answer your questions, leave them in the comments of the replay and we'll be sure to answer them or send us a message. But have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching.